My perspective?
Please.
Hi, everyone. So I'm Lori Foreman Jacoby. I am the director of a project called the Jewish Journey Project at JCC Manhattan. And one of the things that we've been doing something called Hebrew Homepage, which is 30 minutes online of Hebrew learning, be it decoding or prayer book practice, with a tutor, largely college students, for our students 30 minutes a week. So when that became very successful, and it was a big surprise in the design of this new program, I thought, well, let's create some kind of content learning that we can connect to the Hebrew half an hour. So I turned to Smadar maybe at the beginning of this year, and I said, I've heard great things about JETS Israel, and so we embarked on this curriculum project, and so now we have these 4 courses that have been developed. They are half an hour in length, and they are developed to do with students in kind of a one-on-one tutorial situation. So that's just my brief introduction of how this came to be. And now Smadar's put together a great little PowerPoint to kind of walk us through what's available.
Wonderful. We'll also just get to know a little bit about you. So we'll go around our little virtual room. If you don't mind just saying who you are, your name, if it does or does not appear on the screen. If you teach, if you don't teach, what your connection is with Jewish education. So my name is Smadar Goldstein. As Laurie said, I live here in Jerusalem, Israel. This is my home office. I have a company, Jerusalem EdTech Solutions, which I started in 2009 with a partner. We now have 13 people working with us worldwide, 10 in Israel and a few others across the globe. And we design online curriculum, and we also teach teachers how to design their own curriculum. So we come at it from 2 angles. We call it powered and empowered. So we're thrilled to work with Lori Foreman Jacoby and JCC Manhattan. And any questions you have along the way, please jump in. And we do have a presentation for you, but it is meant to be interactive, so we do want your input. So Dan and Fort Lee, you want to start us off what your connection is to Jewish education?
Okay. I'm actually a mathematics teacher.
Perfect.
And I help with the adult education program here at Young Israel in Fort Lee. And we have mostly older congregants. So we have like a lunch program with a speaker. We have some classes, starting a Hebrew conversation club once a week. But we could use more programming, especially more content.
Okay, thank you. And we're welcome to continue personalized conversations, obviously offline.
Yes.
Great. Miss Australia.
My name's Alexis Fishman. I work for LabShul. I run our Raising the Bar program, which is our B Mitzvah program, what we call our Bar and Bat Mitzvah program. It's a gender-neutral term, B Mitzvah. And for those that don't know, LabShul is an artist-driven, everybody-friendly, God-optional, pop-up experimental community for sacred Jewish gatherings based in New York and reaching the world. We do a lot of one-on-one training with our B Mitzvah students, and so I'm interested to learn about, what potential kind of curriculum coursework we may be able to include for them.
Not only was what you said so interesting, but you just said it so smoothly. Well, I'm God optional, B Mitzvah. I'm like still processing these things, and you're just throwing all these great terms at me one after the other. So I'm just going to jot them all down.
It's our, we get beaten into us to make sure we know that phrase. That's how we define ourselves.
Well, it's great that you memorized it. It's great that you memorized it.
Yeah. Fabulous. Thank you, Mendeley. You wrote you've been teaching for 40 years at day schools, and parents ask you what Jewish education they can receive online. Okay, wonderful. So this is great. I take it your audio isn't working, so we'll definitely check the chat box for things that you say. And Mendeley is in Texas, just in case people wanted to know that, which I love knowing where people are. Okay, great. Who's next? Stephanie, can you hear us? Stephanie, are you there? Maybe, maybe not. And Matt, how about you?
Hi, everyone. I'm the Director of Congregational Learning at Shomrei Torah, the Wayne Conservative Congregation in Wayne, New Jersey. And I'm looking at all sorts of different options for a congregational school. We run a pre-K through 12 program as well as adult education. and we're just looking around and seeing what's out there that's new and exciting.
Okay, fantastic. So I'm thrilled to meet with all of you and hear your connection to Jewish Ed, and happy to embark on this wonderful journey. So we are going to begin. Our plan is to walk you through some of the curriculum, describe it, share it, and certainly answer any questions that you have. And Lori, since she's the founder of this program, she will be there to handle the logistics side. I'm here to handle the technical side and the educational technology side. And both of us have a lot of input on the education aspect, so feel free to ask anything. And this is Malka. I don't know if that's your first name or your last name. If you can speak, you can let us know. And certainly everyone can chat at any time. I do have my eye on the chat box, so if something comes up, I will address it. We'd like to share what the JJConnect program is, so we'll watch this little video that someone on our fabulous team put together.
Are you a parent of young teenage children who would love for them to learn more about Judaism and their...
Okay, 1 second. I'm on screen share, I'll start that again. So you might need to wiggle your screen around, but let me just try that again. Do you see it now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so I'll start that again. Thank you.
Are you a parent of young school-aged children who would love for them to learn more about Judaism and their Jewish heritage, but either it's hard to find time in your busy schedules for hour-long Hebrew classes, or you live in a small Jewish community with limited access to Jewish education? Coming fall 2018, JJConnect from Jewish Journeys. With JJConnect, your child will experience a new and innovative style of Jewish learning. Embark on one of our unique journeys of Jewish learning. Jewish calendar and holidays, back to the book Genesis, Jewish values, people who live them, and mitzvot, carrying through action. Best of all, it's online and at home, giving you the flexibility that both you and your child need. JJConnect matches your child with a private teacher, and together you choose the most convenient time to meet online. For 30 minutes a week, your child and his own private teacher will explore the exciting topics, all from the comfort of your own home by using a wide range of EdTech tools. Some examples include using a dynamic image tagging tool where students can learn about the story of Noah's Ark. Lessons also include interactive games, such as this one, which teaches the phases of the moon in a unit about the Jewish calendar, and collaborative learning, such as this shared discussion board, where students across all classes add their own thoughts on the same question. Give your child the JJConnect advantage, a fun and exciting journey of Jewish learning.
Okay, any quick questions or thoughts about what you saw right now? This kind of just an overview of the program. You're muted, Ms. Australia. Alexis, sorry.
You're right, I'm sorry. What's the age range that it's targeted for?
3rd grade and up.
Till what? 3rd grade through?
So the B mitzvah age is covered.
Okay.
I think that's what this is going for right now. And we also divided the sections into kind of beginners and intermediate. So no course is labeled for 3rd graders or for 6th graders. It's labeled for beginners or intermediate, and that way the tutor can adjust the content to make it seem a bit more older child friendly or younger child friendly, but the topic is based on the background. And if you're looking into adult ed, a lot of this can be adapted, obviously, that's different ways, but that could be maybe a discussion. I know JCC Manhattan has some online adult courses, so we can talk about that later.
And how many units are there? How long is the program sort of supposed to run?
Okay, great. So we are just getting to that right now. So what are the topics of the courses? So here you have these 4 classes, Jewish Calendar and Holidays 1. Mitzvah Caring Through Action. As you can see, each one has 12 lessons in it. The third one is Back to the Book, Genesis, and the fourth is Jewish Values, People Who Live Them. And what you're looking at now is the topic for each weekly course. And like we said, it's done one-on-one with a tutor. So we have trained the tutors at JCC Manhattan on how to implement the curriculum, which I'll show you momentarily. And it runs per semester. So it's approximately one a week, but with holidays and all that, you just get slowed down throughout each semester.
If you scroll down a little bit, you'll see the additional 4 under the Jewish Values one. There we go.
Yeah, those are the different types. So, okay, and this is like a little handout overview, which I just emailed you literally the minute before the webinar began. I wanted you to have it along with us so you can use it as a guide. It's an overview of what we're talking about, but it doesn't give you a lot of detail. If you want more detail, you'll make an appointment to speak with Lori Foreman-Jacoby, if you don't mind, and she'll give you the ropes, as they say. So we are going to look through, we selected one of each course. These are the 4 topics. We selected one lesson of each topic. I don't think we'll get through every single one. Each one you'll see is quite content heavy, and they're meant to last 30 minutes each. They won't last 30 minutes each here. We're going to do an overview, but we'll start looking at Jewish calendar and high holidays and Mitzvot Lashon Hara. And then if you have any questions, or if you're really dying to see one of the other ones, then I'm happy to open it and give you a sneak peek at that, as they say. So again, if there are any questions anytime, please jump in. You don't need to wait till the end at all. So this is lesson 3 of the high holidays. So they have learned about it a little bit. Each lesson begins with goals. Each lesson also has tutorials for the teacher to look at, which we put together a very comprehensive teacher's guide on how to use every educational technology tool. So they'll have reviewed Rosh Hashanah in something called a Wiser. This is a tool called a Wiser, where they'll watch this little video. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but you'll see.
Rosh Hashanah is the start of a new year in the Jewish calendar and a moment to take stock of your soul.
Okay, so they watch the video. They are asked a question, what are the 3 main aspects? They have to answer, multiple choice. What does tshuva mean? They again have to answer. Which Jewish holidays are called high holidays? These are all kind of, and then here you draw how you celebrate it. So this is so if you're eating apples and honey, if you're going to synagogue and you pray, if you blow a shofar, you can draw whatever it is you do. And each student has that opportunity. And here, students here can also record their answer. So they can make themselves a little recording here. This is how we do it. We go to the beach, but we blow shofar on the beach. So they can record themselves doing that.
So I just want to say one thing. The very first slide, which is this review, this is not the first lesson in the course. So every session, there is this review for the teacher. This is sort of like it bookmarks the course. It appears at the very end of the prior course, which the teacher and the student do together. And then it reappears just as a quick refresher, because kids do need refreshers and repetition in order to remember information.
Sure. Absolutely. So here it talks a little bit about what Rosh Hashanah is, and again they record themselves through voice or video, and then they press hand and work, and it goes to the database. The next part of the lesson is they watch another little video about what is Shehachianu.
There's a lot of emphasis in Judaism on stopping to recognize special moments. A traveler's prayer for long trips, a blessing for surviving a trauma, and one for seeing a rainbow.
So we talk about what does it mean to say that blessing, and then we learn about it together. And one second. Oh, here it is, sorry. So this is called a Padlet. And here the student, what happened to you recently where you could have said this blessing of Shehachianu? So it could be anything. They watch the video, they could get a new pair of shoes, they can go to the beach, they can fly to Italy, whatever it is they've done, something new and exciting. Here I got new shoes, and they can post a picture of it. They just started a new job, they press this plus sign, They can add a picture. They can, if you press these three dots, you can add all of these features. They can draw, again, they can record their voice themselves. They can take a picture of the item if it's in their home. And they can also just write. Boring old writing. So it's collaborative. Everyone will see everyone else's response. If I write, I saw Blake's in Italy, which I just did. So I could do that here, and I would definitely add a photo of some of the beauty that I beheld, which I definitely wanted to say that last night. So this is called a Padlet, another one of our tech tools. Then they can listen to the shofar. These are all recordings. So we've recorded all the sounds of the shofar. So they can click on those and hear them. Then they watch this video that we designed about Rosh Hashanah. What is it? Again, we'll just watch a little bit of it. This one we designed for this particular course. This is not available anywhere else. Whoops.
This is the story of the first train that went from Yaffo to Yerushalayim on Rosh Hashanah back in the 1900s. That's a picture that actually
I'm sorry, Lori, I didn't hear you say that.
No, this story is just based on this train that went, the very first train that went from Yaffo to Yerushalayim in the year 1892.
How'd you like that one?
Very nice. I know the book this was based on.
Oh,
My
really?
grandson gave it to me. Yeah.
That's great. What's the book called?
The Ari's Trip to Jerusalem, I think. PJ Books.
Fair enough. Okay. So
this is very lively animation of it. Very, very, very nicely done.
But I think if you, yeah, there you go.
Then the kids have to match, so they listen. And then they have to match. Which one is it? So either the four of them. Oh, that's still loading. So they're the four ones, and they have to match which one. How many shofar blasts? Just some information about Rosh Hashanah. Plastic, that's cute. How can we improve for the new year? And then here, the students write actual things that they want to improve. So they could type whatever it is they would want to type. They can also add pictures or a recording. So there's a lot of differentiated instruction. Now they can practice saying the blessings, they can record themselves saying the blessings, and they can also draw the blessings. Here's about some history of the shofar and what do you think it was used for in ancient times, and we have a whole site on that gives you a lot of information about that. So that would be,
So I just want to say one thing. I forget your name. You're from Lab Shul. So I know that you have different brachot, right? You've changed some of the wording in the bracha.
Right.
So if you were to use this, we would make sure that whoever tutored your children, those students, would be aware of that. Now we can't really alter this because it's being used in many settings, but it can be put in the teacher's notes, like for students of Lab Shul, that the tutor would say, and we know that that your shul made these changes, and you would give us a little bit of information about what was the motivation to make those changes.
Okay.
Nice. Well, it's also good to know the different forms. So if they see this and we say it this way, but other synagogues might say it this way, that's also knowledge that's worthwhile having. Okay, so we're going to move on to the Lashon Hara lesson. If you have any questions again at any time, please jump in. So this one's about Lashon Hara. It's not just gossiping. So again, this is not the first lesson of the mitzvot series. They've already learned about tzedakah, and that's not just giving money. And these are the goals of the lesson. So first, that's from what they have to do last week. We're not going to get into that. Here, what does Lashon Hara actually mean? And we ask them for examples. So each slide is, you read, you learn, you watch, but you interact at every single slide. There's no time for, you're not talking, which is what I'm doing now. You're constantly pausing. Can you think of examples what Lashon Hara means? And here's some online scenarios. And the student here would fill this out. All these links that you're looking at, the student obviously has to do. So it's very live. So here are some different chat scenarios. Alexis, you want to just read that one?
Sure. Today I tried out for the basketball team. I think I got in, but you should have seen some of the other kids who tried out. This one kid, Steve, he couldn't get a basket if his life depended on it. I hope he doesn't make the team.
They're talking about that as with your tutor, what's wrong with that statement. And even though it's on Facebook or it's a text or a chat, yes, it still matters. In fact, it can matter more because look, 68 people saw it and 24 people shared it. So that does not happen in a private conversation, but it can happen, and it does happen on social media. So teaching our students that the concept of digital citizenship is actually a Jewish-based concept as well, and how deeply it can affect others.
So Smadar, why don't you give the controls to somebody so they can practice, so people can see how a student types in.
Sure. Well, I can put this in the chat box and everyone can type in. So I put that in the chat, and I can stop the screen share, and you can just kind of scroll down, and you can also fill it in, and you could test it out for yourself. You can see if you have any also problems with it.
What happens one-on-one, just remind me, Smadar, but can't the student just type it straight into the screen?
And not in a screen share. The student has to have it open in their own screen.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Screen share, you can't interact. You can highlight. You can't type in it. But you can look at it yourself. Oh, by the way, you've been originally, your audio is not working. You've been in Houston for 35 years. And you're involved in adult education, originally from Montreal. That's definitely a change in weather from Montreal to Houston. Which one do you prefer? Okay, so if you had a chance to look through the chat and the form, how would your students, deal with that if you do have adolescents, or if you have adult students, it can be a little different. Here's a question. Is there one tutor for several kids at the same time or from different places at the same time? It's one-to-one. It's one-on-one. JCC provides all the tutors. Laura, do you want to talk about the scheduling?
At the end.
Okay, so we'll get to that soon. So here, another example of chats, perfect example of a screenshot of what some kids, I've got 4 teenagers, and this can happen. So we do want to bring it up on how to deal with it, right and wrong ways of chatting with your friends. How would you fix this conversation? And that just, how many of these were Lashon Hara? Okay, then we go to just a little review of what is Lashon Hara. How are they supposed to know? Maybe they've never heard of the term before, so definitely talking about it a little bit. And then this one is so cute. Looking at each of these sentences and saying it, recording. Remember, this is a Padlet. You can record yourself. If you say, oh, I love that shirt you're wearing, right? Or I really love the shirt you're wearing. So how our tones of voices can reflect positivity and negativity, and which ones of those are ones that we want to emulate and ones that we want to raise a red flag. It's really social living. So each student can go in and record one of these, and then at the end, they say, what differences did you notice when you read the sentence nicely or not nicely, or with negativity or positivity, and how does that relate to Lashon Hara? So having them reflect a little bit on what it actually does. Do you want to play with this one too, Lori?
Can they do it directly?
Yeah, I can put it in. I can put anything in the chat box, and they can go ahead and do that. So you can go do that now if you want. So that one's in the chat.
Or you can do it and just show them what the audio looks like. Show them how that goes.
Okay. So you just press the voice, and you could say, I love your shirt. I love your shirt. That's pretty much how it goes.
But save it. Yeah, and then it appears in that little space, I think.
Yes. It will do that. So if any of you want to be brave and go ahead and do that, you can feel free, and then it will appear right here. And I don't have to write my name. So if I'm doing this in a group and I'm embarrassed, I don't want to publicly say that, and there are students in Houston and New York and Australia, we don't have to know each other. I can write my name if I want to, but we can also do this anonymously and learn sometimes more in an anonymous setting than in a who are you and what have you done type of setting. So there's no public shaming. It's the opposite of that, actually. It's a safe place to express yourself. Thoughts and comments?
Yeah, Smadar, could you just explain to me, so, I mean, you're saying that it does all collect in a kind of repository where people can look over each other's answers and things. So is that something that like appears automatically, or do you have to sort of log into that in order to see that material? How does that work?
So the Padlet is collaborative. So if you post on it now, it will appear on it now. But because the classes are done one-on-one with a tutor, so if the tutor sees that you have posted something and it's not appropriate or you're embarrassed about it, the tutor can immediately, you can also immediately remove your own post. You cannot remove anyone else's post, and the tutor has access to all the posts. So if there are 20 posts up here, the tutor can remove any one they want. And again, it's done one-on-one, so the tutor sees instantly if something is up there that shouldn't be.
But the Padlet is something that you access outside of the actual lessons. You can choose to contribute to the Padlet. It's not the way where the lessons are. Am I correct in that?
You do it during the lesson.
Right.
You do it during the lesson. Each lesson ends with something we call independent exercise at the end. So sometimes we have, well, this one's a Wiser. Wisers are not collaborative. Sometimes if there's a Padlet at the end, then it's done collaboratively and the student can do it. And the student can access this whenever they want if they have the link. The student will have to bother and go look up the link and go back. If you want to, if you want to do the opposite, you want to highlight this and send it to the parents or really make a community effort here, then you can just email the link to your community and say, please make sure your child student fills this in by, Wednesday, because we're having an event or a discussion about it on Thursday, and we want to make sure every voice is heard, because literally every voice is heard. But the tutor can monitor that as they come in. You get a notification when someone posts, so the tutor can go in and monitor and make sure everything is said there, and then certainly won't share it. If it's not, can just immediately remove it. You just click that little garbage can, and then it's deleted.
Just one other question. I know you're saying that it's one-on-one. I mean, is it possible that if I have a friend that lives in, on the other side of town, I can do it together with my friend and one? Like, could it be 2-on-1 or in groups?
Well, so we are thinking about that. Like right now, we have structured it for it to be one-on-one because the families go online and they pick a tutor and a time that works for them. We know from experience that once we expand it to more people, then, this person wants to change it and that person can't make it. And I'm not paying my tutors to spend time rescheduling many families.
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't, 2-on-1 might be possible, but I would really have to think about sort of some of the logistics behind that.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. What also might be possible, sometimes two kids they do live near each other and they want to be together for it. So that could also be a possibility you can explore with Lori. In terms of collaborative tools, the Wiser, this one's called Wiser, wiser.me. These are not collaborative. And again, these are completed right here, right now, online with the tutor. So I'll put this one also in the chat box and you can click on that. Here you will be asked to log in with Google, make an account.
But I think, can you do me a favor? Give me the, what happens if you give me the
screen share?
Yeah.
Well, then you could share your screen.
Oh, no, I think there was some way that if you shared the screen with me, I can type in. Like go back to the Wiser and share the screen.
Yeah. Not that I know of. You can highlight it. All of you right now can click on the annotate button and kind of scribble on the screen, but it is text, but it's not saved. It's saved on Zoom. We're on 2 different platforms right now. The Zoom is how we are all connecting globally. The Wiser is a tool that we have designed like a notebook, like a piece of paper. So it's this one link to this one piece of paper. You need to write in this document for it to be saved. This is annotation that's different. So here, this is the Lashon Hara activity to follow up after they do the Padlet. How you speak matters. They watch another little video about Lashon Hara, and then they have an independent exercise to follow up. What have they learned? Today's world, social media, other messaging options become a place to talk about someone else. This is also Lashon Hara. So again, they learn about the differences and similarities between digital citizenship, which is an important aspect to learn, and Lashon Hara.
Enjoy this movie, then visit brainpop.com for much more. Hey, watch where you're going. What did you call me? No.
So that's a very educational thing about that. And then, do you agree with the rules in the video wire or not? What rules would you add or remove? So they get to some rules in the video.
Not appropriate in formal communication. And what are...
So you talk about what's appropriate for you and what you would want to design in your online environments. You can write or record. And here are some ways that you can avoid speaking Lashon Hara. And you can write in school. And again, they have to write it. So you can maybe in the cafeteria, at home or online, on my phone, obviously, Facebook, home life, social media. So making them aware of all of these things. And all this data is recorded. And if they don't fill one in, that's also recorded. And then Wiser, when it's recorded, it tells you how long the student spent on it, because this is an independent exercise, which means they're supposed to do it afterwards by themselves. So the tutor...
Well, our intention is actually that if there's time in the 30 minutes, that this tutor will start this with them. And then the tutor will send the link to the parent so they can work on it during the week. And this is the Wiser that this is what appears at the beginning of the next lesson.
Mm-hmm.
So if they've worked on it, this tutor will see what they've done. And if they haven't worked on it, then they can continue a little bit. But the tutors are going to be trained not to spend too much time at the beginning of each lesson because we want them to go on to the new material.
Certainly. And this can be, and again, if you do want to highlight something at home, you can send out an email to the parents. Please make sure your child completes this activity. or not. You can also skip them. We didn't have time to get to it because we got into this amazing discussion based on the previous, that Padlet about the tones of voices. That can really bring up a lot of energy. So great. So spend time on that and let this one go. There's a lot of material, and the tutors are trained to go with the flow of the student and where the student's needs and passions, where they're excited about. So here's a lot of information about the Vayikra, Leviticus, and Tarat, and biblical reference to Lashon Hara. When they press hand and work, all their data is saved. And that was it for these Caring Through Action classes. So those are the 2 lessons we really wanted to highlight. I'm going to pause and let Lori talk about the technicalities, and also see if there are any questions from you guys. And if you want to, we can continue with another lesson.
So can we just put back up the Word document that shows the 4 classes for one moment? So the first Jewish calendar and holidays 1 course is pretty self-explanatory. Our intention was to give kids some background on the holidays, especially if children come to your program without a lot of knowledge and you want to give them some basic knowledge. This is a great way to do that. The class, back to the book, the Genesis course, it is about the stories, but we pulled out a value from each of the various stories. And so they're not indicated here. The one that we do see that is indicated is like Hachnasat Orchim, is the value that we talk about regarding Abraham and Sarah. Jacob and Esau is really about sibling relationships and not fighting. We're going to have to update this, but each one has a value because we wanted to add a new dimension in addition to just the storyline. And then going further, going up, the one about mitzvot. This was my intention was to try to get the students to understand more about mitzvot, that it goes beyond just doing a nice thing for someone, which is how it's sort of been reduced and it's very reductive in the American community. So we do start with what is a mitzvah. We do talk about the 2 categories of mitzvot, ben adam lachavero, between a man and people, and between God. Then we start with some mitzvot that the children are more familiar with. I would say 4 or 5, maybe 6, maybe 7, certainly 7, and then we start to add different mitzvot that may be a little new for them. That's sort of how we structured that. The children may know what a mezuzah is, but they may not know it's a mitzvah to hang a mezuzah on your house. And then the next one, which is really created for 6th and 7th graders, is about individuals we think are important for our children to know about, but we also, once again, picked a value, and some of these individuals, I would suspect many of children don't know these individuals. So as you can see, pretty much 1 through 6 are individuals who are no longer living, and then starting with Ruth Messenger and going down, it focuses on people, Avital Sharansky, it focuses on individuals who are living. Debbie Friedman is sadly passed. We may have to whatever, but that's where she is. So that's sort of, and we are giving, here at the Jewish Training Project, our students do a half an hour of Hebrew, and then they will have a choice of which one of these to do back to back. Or if there's a child who doesn't want to do Hebrew because it is not something that we require of everyone, we are going to really encourage everyone to do this, to do one of these online classes. It's another way for us to push Jewish learning into the home, and we found it to be very important that the children are doing this on their kitchen table. Their parents are not doing it with them, but they are vicariously getting a tremendous amount of pleasure being in the same room or the same vicinity, let's just say, when their children participate in this. And the children really make a very nice connection with the tutors. We have about 50 tutors. Most of them are college students, different colleges around the country. I do want to say not solely college students. We do have some individuals who have been teaching for a long time, but they make a very nice connection with those individuals. And we see that the students really, they don't skip these. They don't, they really do attend. We partner with synagogues. Well, we do this 2 ways. We partner with synagogues. We have 4 synagogues in Manhattan who are working with us, and they can we go to the Hebrew homepage .org site?
Yeah, I just want to welcome Mendeley again. I think we can hear you now. Can you try speaking again? Is she there? Okay, there you go.
So this is the kind of the information on the registration page. And if a synagogue works with us, can you give me the control of this?
You can share it on your screen.
Oh.
And also welcome to Rabbi Miriam Lichtenfeld. Where do you want me to go?
I thought that was, I can do it. This is confusing to me. Go up straight, go up all the way to the top.
Mm-hmm.
And now to become a tutor. So the children, if you go to courses, so the synagogue basically says, go to this page, go to the JJConnect courses, and we give you this information, and then they can decide which one they're taking. So let's say I take the Jewish calendar class, they click here to register. And then, voila. Then they have to click on it again. So to say they click here, and then they see which one. Okay, so pick another one, pick one. And then this is a list of all the tutors. So we've asked our tutors to give a little background and bio. They'll tell you, they're very cool. And so then once you pick a tutor that you might like, then pick one, Smadar. Then the students, okay, nobody's going to start this week. Can you go back? Go up, just, okay. Just pick anything. So they read through this, and then let's say they pick Kochava. So Kochava, pick that. Okay, so Kochava is available on, right, so
Thursday.
the top. You see what it says next week? So we direct the parents to go there until they reach September. And let's say they want their students to start the week of, okay. Click again, the next week.
This is a Chagim, that might be.
That might be why.
Yeah, there we go.
So here, these are the available dates. So like pick a date. So what happens is the parents say, we want to do this 5:30 in the afternoon. They fill this out. And this is what I want to show you. If you are in partnership with me, I give you a code. You give the parents a code, and the process continues, and the parents don't have to pay online. And then we work out a situation where I invoice the synagogue. If you have individual students who are doing this and who you're not paying for them, you know, you may have a student that joins you at a later date and you want them to do this as catch up, or you may know a student who's not connected to any institutional education program. Parents, I have a good handful of people who do it sort of just on their own, and they don't get a code, and then they pay through PayPal online. So right now, this is priced at $390 per semester for 12 sessions. It's about $32.50 a session, and it includes everything. It includes the material we've developed, and the tutor, and the making sure the technology all works. This whole registration system, and then the tutors create a link through Zoom. Like we are currently on this video conferencing platform called Zoom, and that link is sent to the parents, and that is the link that the student uses every week. So it's not as if they need to look for a new link from week to week. They kind of just save this link. It's set up as a recurring session. And I have somebody whose name is Sarah Stave, who works as the coordinator for this. So if there's ever any problem, a technical problem with a tutor, the parents are in touch with her, and if need be, we'll find either a different tutor if the tutor's not working out, or if there are technical problems, Sarah will arrange for a technical session with the parents to make sure that they understand technically how to do this online. So from the Hebrew perspective, can you just click on courses for a moment? So these are the courses that we've offered. We offer Learn to Read Hebrew. This is 8 packets, and the children learn how to decode, and we borrow the material. We have a license to the material that was created by someone by the name of Ray Antonoff. The reading fluency for prayer book Hebrew. This is the prayers through MP. We have both MP3s from synagogues, and we also have PDFs, so that a tutor can bring a PDF up, and then the student gets the controls, and they can divide it into syllables or circle the different letters, and then they can hear the MP3 that goes in accordance with their synagogue. So we have a whole resource page, which I don't have access to at the moment, that the tutors refer to. So if the child comes from BJ, they pick up a tune from B'nai Jeshurun, and if a child comes from Lab Shul, they could click on the MP3 from Lab Shul. And then lastly, for students who want modern Hebrew, we've partnered with an organization called the Center for Educational Technology in Israel, and they have a program called Ivrit B'Klik, and it's very cute little videos and online work that was developed really for elementary school students. And while I don't believe that children are ever going to learn how to speak Hebrew, in a half an hour a week, it is a fun introduction to the modern language. So that's my little situation. So if anybody is interested in using the material and working with us, partnering with us, you can reach me. Where can they reach me? Here we go. That's my email, and that's my phone number. I think Smadar sent you this sheet already.
Yes, that's her. I'm putting that in the chat, and I'll put this document in the chat again. Did everybody get this document?
Yes.
You did. Okay, great. So I put that. Okay. Rabbi Miriam, we didn't get to hear you or where you're from, or if you're connected to Jewish education at all. Do you have audio? Can you try talking?
It doesn't have audio.
Oh, okay, great. Okay, so we could just kind of go around our room again, a virtual room, for a question, a thought, a feedback, and we can also chat it if you like.
Laurie, could I just ask, is the Hebrew priced in the same way, and is it the same amount of sessions?
Yes, it is. It's 12 sessions, and the parents can schedule it like that. My intention is for my parents to schedule it back to back for most students. Many students can handle an hour. I'm completely aware there are students who probably can't sit for an hour in front of a computer, and so we will allow the parents to do 2 half hours during the week.
Just on that, I just want to sort of, is it possible that a tutor could be doing this? I know it's geared for online learning. I teach some kids on Skype, and I know that some children are really able to sit and engage across a screen, and others are unable to focus in that way. I love the content of this and the curriculum. It's all terrific. Is there any plans to be able to have a tutor be sitting with the kid and working through the program together in person?
So that's a different model that I have to think through a little bit. If that was something you're more interested in, we can figure that out. Right now, that would involve me kind of coming up with some kind of a fee to sell you the curriculum, in essence.
Right.
But then the question is the support. So if you have a tutor, who's going to teach that tutor how to use the material and support that tutor? And that's what I have to think about.
Okay. I'd like to continue that conversation in person if we could.
That would also only apply to Manhattan-based students.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not flying. Go ahead.
Sorry, I'd actually be interested in something similarly along those lines. If there was a way to look at the curriculum, because part of the feedback I've gotten from the community here is they want the students to be here together. If there's any way to do that.
At your synagogue?
Correct.
So one possibility is, look, you don't really want, if your students are going to be at your synagogue together, I would think you really want them to do something like interactive and together. And that this could be something that would extend beyond that to bring it a little bit more into the home. Meaning, I know that there are other programs that that are PowerPoints that students look at, you know, that the teachers bring up and the students interact with. But I just want to ask if in the afternoon hours, we really want our students, when they're all together and can see each other face to face, doing something in front of a screen. You know, if they're all together, I just wonder if this is the right thing. You know, if you have a whole class of kids.
Do you have enough devices, Matt, to go around? If you did have? We have done this in the past, where my company has logged into Hebrew schools, and the challenges are devices. You need to make sure they're working, support. So the online tutor takes away a lot of the troubleshooting that happened in the past. But maybe that's something you can explore again to kind of do some of the curriculum and then some more interactive. You know, these are things for you to think about. This is a new project for us, so we're glad that all these questions are coming up, and we can certainly tackle them as they come on. And Rabbi Lichtenfeld said she's from Albany, New York, the Biyachad Religious School. Any other comments? Albany, New York, the students there come together once a week. You know, I know the traditional framework is they come in once or twice a week. Does the online material, does that fit your programming? Same thing with Texas. I don't know what the programming is there. Or if there are any other questions about this.
2 times a week, but Wednesdays we struggle, so I'm thinking of other options. Great. If you all give me permission, Smadar can share with me your emails, and I can email you and we can start individual conversations, if that's okay with people, if this is something that interests you. I understand that, Dan, this is not adult material. I totally get that, but I hope you enjoyed sort of seeing what we've done for the younger ages.
You're muted. Let me just unmute. Go ahead, Dan. You should be able to talk now. No, you shouldn't. Okay, go ahead.
Right. I'm looking for the analogy of what you're doing for an older audience, and I see some possibilities, yes.
Great. I live in Teaneck, by the way. I'm your neighbor.
Good.
Okay, so we will be in touch. I'll share with Lori everyone's emails, and you'll take it from there.
Just Dan, I know I'm not going to remember the name, but maybe someone can help me. There is an online learning done through Machon Hadar. I don't know whether you've heard of them, but they do fantastic Chevruta Torah study.
Oh yeah, you would love them. It's called Project Zug.
There it is, Project Zug.
Project Zug for adults. It's quite excellent. It's done through Machon Hadar here in New York City, but they partner people up to be like Chevruta, and beyond that, I don't really know.
Zug?
Zug, like a pair.
Z-O-O-G.
Thank you.
Z-U-G.
Z-U-G, okay.
Yeah. Well, it was really nice to meet everybody. I hope that we can have offline conversations, and have a good afternoon.